Welcome back to another edition of the Night Report podcast. I'm your host, Mike Broadbent. Joining me once again are my co-hosts, Richie O'Leary and Alec Crowdhamel. A lot to talk about today, guys. We've had some transfers out of the football program. We'll get into those players and how that affects the roster for next year. We have 1 day remaining on the Rutgers NFL Draft Challenge. So just a reminder, we'll talk about that more in the pod as well. Preview the spring game. Talk about Ace Bailey's declaration for the NBA Draft, which should surprise no one, but he finally announced last night, I believe. And then Alec will update us on what's going on in the portal with the women's basketball program. Before we get into any of that, this podcast is presented to you once again by BetOnline. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for sports betting action, with the largest selection of odds on everything from the NBA playoffs to Major League Baseball, NHL, and UFC. Even the Kentucky Derby upcoming and NFL season future bets are ready for you to bet right now. In between games, you could head over to the BetOnline casino with all the top Vegas-style games, including poker and a live casino. BetOnline, the game starts here. All right, let's talk about these transfers out of the program. So just in the last few days, we've had Ajani Sheppard transfer out. We've had Chase Winowich transfer out. So we've had a few entries. Rich, what are you hearing about the two entries out of the program, Ajani Sheppard and Chase Winowich?
I wish they had a Johnny Cornelius.
Or Chase Winowich.
Hell of a left tackle right there. Or Chase Winowich. Yeah, you're right.
Who am I thinking of? All right, I'm butchering these names.
Gabe Winowich and
Gabe
Johnny
Winowich. Chase
Sheppard.
was the guy from Michigan. Jesus.
Yes.
All
I mean,
right.
hell, you could get those two. I mean, problem solved, right?
Yep.
Anyway, Johnny Sheppard, I mean, it was obvious he was QB3 at best. I thought Sean Ashenfelder looked pretty good in practices, so it sounds like Sean Ashenfelder was kind of just pushing him for that QB3 spot, and it was just a matter of I think he still would have been QB3 if he stayed. It's just AJ Surace is the future. AJ Surace probably would have been QB2 last year if he was healthy enough in camp, but he was still recovering from an injury. He's back now, looks really good. As far as QBs go, the staff thinks he's probably going to be a multi-year starter. Like that's going to be your 26, 27, 28 quarterback, if I had to guess. In an ideal world, he's only 26, 27 because gone NFL maybe. Probably not. May never know. Who knows? Who knows how he's going to develop? But they love his upside. They think he has a higher upside than Ethan when it's all said and done. He's just not there yet. Whereas Ethan is the guy. Ethan's consistent. He's good at what he does. He's a game manager. So, I mean, I think it's just as simple as that. He was just falling down the depth chart. Sounds like he's going to end up at Buffalo. We'll see if he can compete and win the job there. We know some previous Rutgers quarterbacks have had some success at the lower levels. Evan Simon played a couple games last year for Temple. Cole Schneider actually lit up the MAC a little bit during his Eastern Michigan, I think it was. No? I forget.
Yeah, Eastern Michigan. I think he went to Buffalo and then
Buffalo
Eastern
first.
Michigan.
Yeah, that's what it was. And he looked good at Buffalo and then looked good at Eastern Michigan. So maybe Ajani goes there and lights it up for all we know. But yeah, I mean, he wasn't really competing for the starting job. He wants to play like every other quarterback. It's hard to keep a quarterback room of more than 3 nowadays. And Greg says it all the time. Like we're probably just going to have 3 quarterbacks going forward in terms of scholarship guys. The other one, Gabe Winowich, similar situation. They brought in CJ Campbell. He's probably going to be the starter if I had to guess right now. And even if he is the starter, he's going to split reps with Antoine Raymond. So there's 1 and 2. We know Jay-Sean Benjamin's right there, probably third. Sam Brown, you can argue, would be third if healthy. I don't think he's going to be healthy for even the start of this season. I don't know how that's actually going to work out for him because he's got a long road to recovery. So either way, there's 1, 2, 3. And I'd argue Ed Guerrero was ahead of him too, and 4. And then you bring in Terrell Mitchell, who could potentially push Winowich, and that would be 5. I've said it from day one when Winowich committed, like he should be playing linebacker. This is a guy that in high school had so many offers to play linebacker and just didn't want to tweet them out, didn't want to post them because he was so adamant about being a running back. And he only had a couple Power 4 offers for running back, and they gave him a shot. He came to New Jersey as a high school senior to play alongside his future quarterback in AJ Surace. That just didn't end up working out. Now, where's he going to end up? That I don't really know. I would assume a G5 would probably take a risk on him. Maybe one of the someone put it in the Discord, the directional Michigans, and just like, hey, one of them might take a shot on you because he's from Michigan originally. Maybe he likes the Northeast. Maybe he wants to stay local. I do think someone will give him a shot. He is close with the Surace family. I don't know if he has Princeton grades or not. Maybe he does. I don't even know if Princeton, like how hard it is to transfer in, but I'm assuming it's got to be pretty hard. So, but with the connection to this race family, maybe, never know. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's just guys that are lower on the depth chart, and you got to cut down to 105 by training camp. So they're down to, with those two moves, they're down to 122. So you still got some fat to shed. I guess that's probably not the right term. It's probably a mean term to say, but sorry.
They got some cuts to make ultimately. Yeah,
and that doesn't even factor in guys that they could bring in the spring portal window as well.
True. Yeah,
that's a good point. You've previously reported that they're looking to add a defensive lineman. Rich, have you heard any specific names there, or is it still just a want that they have?
Do have technically two names. One already committed elsewhere. Actually, Alec, you sent it to me. Who's the Maryland kid that entered the portal and ended up committing to Texas? Was it?
Oh, I forget his name, but he committed to North Carolina. And then flipped to Texas on the same day.
Okay. Yeah.
Or no, he started at he started at North Carolina and then he flipped to Texas that same day. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah,
I forget his name, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter because he's committed, but they also reached out to Mason Nelson, a Western Directional Michigan defensive tackle, 6'1", 310, 30 tackles, 2 sacks, 8 TFLs. He hasn't visited yet, but he just visited Tennessee. It sounds like they're probably not going to land him either. He's got a couple visits actually scheduled, but Rutgers is not one of them. And then they also want an offensive lineman. Like we said, they're going to peek into the portal for a lineman and see what happens. They reached out to one so far that we know of, and that would be Jordan Davis out of South Alabama. Okay grades. I mean, his PFF grade overall was kind of ass, but his pass blocking grade was in the 74.3 range. So maybe a work in progress. He's got multiple years, so it could be a Shedrick Rhodes type situation where it's like, okay, we bring him in, see what he could do. Maybe he beats out someone. Maybe he's just a reserve guy. Maybe he's a rotational piece. But he doesn't have any visits scheduled yet, but Kansas, North Carolina, Oklahoma State, Rutgers, West Virginia, and Wisconsin are all after him. So they're definitely interested in portal guys. We know there's peaking at linebackers. I don't know if that's necessarily going to happen or not based on a certain situation with a tweet that has now been deleted. So,
yeah, let's get into that. We all kind of were shocked on this past weekend. I don't know if it was Saturday or Sunday, but Mohamed Toure posted what seemed to be a goodbye letter to Rutgers fans and then quickly deleted it and then reposted it. And then I think he took it down again.
Yeah.
What are you hearing with the Mohamed Toure situation, Rich?
Well, I'm hearing that he misspelled a word in the first tweet, so he reposted it in a second tweet.
Okay.
But ended up getting deleted once again. It sounds like it was a little bit of a shock to everyone. It's a weird scenario for him. Like, he's got a long road to recovery for starters. Even if he gets back to 100, it's going to take a while for him to get back to 100%. I don't know if he'll get to 100% by game one, by training camp. And we saw this last year. You can't be risky with your linebacker unit. Last year, they were playing guys in Jabome who struggled early and actually became a really nice piece later on. Moses Walker struggled throughout, so you don't have a backup. Like, you don't have not a Tyrone Powell. I guess Tyrone Powell did play, even though he was injured. You don't have another guy right now. Like, you don't have a Deion Jennings sitting in the wings that can just step up. Now, they have some young pieces. We know Sam Robinson's really high on the list. We know they have some MJ Johnson with DJ McClary coming in, Kamar Archie. There's a ton of young backers. I just don't think they're ready yet. And it seems like Moses Walker would be the guy to step up, and we know he struggled last year. Now, it sounds like they saw the tweet, kind of got deleted pretty quickly, started talking to Mo, and they're like, all right, let's figure this out. Like, we got to figure out so you could stay. He's a Rutgers guy through and through. He's the only 2019 kid still on campus. Like, you know how old he is now? He's got to be like 24, 25, right?
Yeah,
like,
I mean, how many 2019 kids are still in college at this point?
Exactly. So
Can't
it's crazy that he's still on campus. And it's at the point with all these injuries, I don't think he makes the league. I don't think he's draftable at this point. It's the same ACL twice. So that's like, it's going to be an issue for scouting teams. Could he still make it? Of course he could. If he had a great year, there's still a shot he could get drafted late. I just don't think he makes it at this point. He's kind of looking at it like, all right, he has a child already who I think is like 2 or 3 years old now. He has a family he's got to worry for. Like, it's at this point, if you can enter the portal and just get the biggest bag possible, because we know all these schools are overspending even for depth pieces now because there's no clearinghouse that's going to be put in for major NIL deals. They want to get these deals in before that clearinghouse gets put in. So hypothetically, if he was to enter the portal, which it sounded like he was planning to, he could get a shit ton of money and set himself up for his future and his future family and all that. So I don't really blame him in that aspect. He's also been on campus again for fucking 5-6 years now. Like it's insane. So Rutgers needs to figure it out. They've peeked into the linebacker portal, which tells me that they're just doing their due diligence in case he does enter. But as of right now, he's still with the team. He's still rehabbing, and he's got 48 hours to basically decide if he's going to enter the portal or not because it closes on Friday. Now, I say that, but in reality, he also has a lot more time to decide because he's a graduate. He already graduated back in last May 2024, so he can really enter whenever the fuck he wants. But he's not going to get as much money if this deal gets approved and this clearinghouse nonsense and all that. So
yeah, it seems like a situation that kind of, like you said, came out of nowhere. The staff handled it. I think it's more likely he stays than doesn't at this point, but something to monitor. So yeah, I expect a few more portal entries between now and Friday. We'll see who they end up being, but just stay tuned to your podcast feeds. So we have the Rutgers Draft Challenge also ongoing, where the winner of the challenge will get their choice of a Rutgers Rookies NFL jersey. Second place gets 6 months complimentary on the Night Report, and also their choice of a shirt from Night and Day Apparel. And then third place gets 6 months complimentary on the Night Report. Somebody had asked us to go through our ballots. I don't know if you guys wanted to do that right now.
Sure.
I don't know if you have yours in front of you, Rich.
I do. Alec. I figured it out.
Okay.
Let me bring it up, actually.
So for those of you who are unfamiliar with the contest, we have a Google form that we'll attach to this podcast description and also the video on YouTube, where we have every player who's draft eligible for Rutgers this year on a form, and you pick, are they going to get drafted, what round they're going to get drafted in, if you said yes, and also by what team they're going to be drafted by or signed by as a free agent. Each has a different point value. If you get the are they going to get drafted question right, that's 1 point. The round they get selected in is 3 points, and the team they get either selected by or signed by is worth 5 points. And for every player, we add up the total, and that's how we get our scores. So that being said, let's start first with the top item here is Holland Pierce. So I'll go first. For Holland Pierce, I had him getting drafted. I got him going in the 4th round to the Philadelphia Eagles. Maybe a little homerism in me there, but the Eagles need a tackle, and I think he fits in nicely in the developmental tackle role behind Lane Johnson in preparation for when he ultimately retires. How about you, Rich? What do you have for Holland Pierce?
I actually also have him in the 4th round. I have him going pretty early in that 4th round. I think that there's a chance he could sneak into the 3rd. Like, I'm really optimistic on Holland. He tested well for the little tests that he did. I know he didn't do a 40, he didn't do anything else like that, but I have him going 4th round to the Raiders. I think that it's a little bit of a unique name, a little bit different. I feel like we haven't had a Rutgers player on the Raiders in quite some time. It's more of a guess on the team, but who knows? They could trade back into the 4th and get a late 4th round pick too and pick him up.
I think they had Deron Harmon once upon a time. I actually cannot find my submission, so Mike, I might need your help with this.
Damn it! 1 second.
I did not get access to the responses, so I don't know what I did because I filled this out right when we introduced it the first day, so I haven't looked at it in a while.
All right, I'll give you access, and I'll read off your first one though.
Excellent.
Oh, I actually found the first one if you want it.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Yeah, 4th round. Obviously drafted. 4th round in Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, they need a tackle. That's another team that needs a tackle. They might do it in the they might go after a tackle in the first round. So I could see them getting one in the first round and then passing on for the rest of the draft, but they definitely need one.
You have access now. If you go to responses and you go to individual, you should be able to cycle through until you find yours.
Okay.
Let's move on to Kyle Monangai. I have him getting drafted. I have him getting drafted in the 5th round to the Cincinnati Bengals. They need a backup running back. They kind of need a thunder to the lightning of Chase Brown. So that was my thought process there. Rich, how about you?
I actually have the 6th round. I do have him getting drafted, but I might have to fix this. Just noticed you guys don't have a 6th rounder, but I do think the Eagles are going to end up picking him up. It's going to pain me when it happens because I'm going to have to watch Saquon, then I'm going to have to watch Kyle Monangai just destroy my team left and right. But yeah, but I'm just realizing now I don't think you guys actually traded your 6th rounder already to Denver. It looks like so.
Well, if I knew Howie, that pick very well could be there. So
yeah, that's true. Howie's trade fiend when it comes to the draft. So, but yeah, I think the Eagles could end up with him. I really think there's a high chance. Local kid makes a lot of sense. I think they hosted him for a pro day and something else recently. Well, not a top 30 visit, but a visit.
He attended the local pro day. Alec, were you able to find yours? If not, I can drop it in the chat here.
No, it looks like you sent me an invitation to respond. I don't know if that.
Damn it, Alec.
It's not my fault.
Okay, you should just click that link that I sent in the chat.
I found your answer again if you really want it.
That would be much appreciated.
You said...
Refresh that link.
No, actually. I think you said he won't get drafted, but then you picked around anyway.
Did I? For Kyle Monangai?
He's got him getting drafted.
Oh, then I'm reading this one wrong.
He's got him drafted in the 5th round to the Vegas Raiders.
Okay, gotcha. Never mind.
What are your thoughts there, Alec?
There we go. Okay. Yeah, the Raiders are another team that could use some... I was signed into the wrong email. That's why. Okay, now we're here.
Damn it.
Sorry.
Bobby.
Okay, here we are. So, yeah, the Vegas Raiders, they could use a running back. There's some smoke that they could draft Ashton Genty in the 1st round at 6 overall. I think they pass on that, get some defensive help, and then they go after a running back later on in the draft. I think he would kind of fit that style that Pete Carroll likes, where it's like a lot of, inside zone stuff that Kyle Monangai really ran a lot at Rutgers. Obviously, it'd be a culture fit with Pete Carroll. So, yeah, that was my rationale.
Pete Carroll.
All right, let's move on to the next player.
I miss him.
Robert Longerbeam. I had him getting drafted. I have him getting drafted in the 6th round. I have Mike Vrabel's the new coach of the Patriots, the long-standing connection there to the Rutgers program. Vrabel coached under, Bill Belichick, and played with some Rutgers guys. So I'm gonna say they drafted him in the 6th round. How about you, Rich?
Also 6th round, I think he gets drafted. I'm pretty optimistic on that. It feels like Robert Longerbeam has increased his stock, whether it be from Pro Day, from Combine, et cetera, et cetera. I went with the Baltimore Ravens. It's kind of a cheat code, too, because they have 4 6th round picks this year. So I'm like, and he also did a workout with them or a camp. I forget what it was. It was one of those things that a visit with them or whatever. So I feel like it's kind of destined for another Rutgers player to end up as a Raven.
Yeah. I said no. I'm realizing scrolling through this list that I said no to a lot of the fringe guys that are like on the verge of maybe or maybe not getting drafted. Yeah. So I might change my mind from when I filled out this form, but it's all right. I'll just go with no for now. But I did say he would sign with the Detroit Lions as an undrafted free agent. They lost a lot on that defense, including their coordinator. They could always use some help in the secondary. The Lions seem like a team that could take a flyer on him as an undrafted guy. So that was my rationale.
All right, let's move on to Tyreen Powell. I do not have him getting drafted, which is unfortunate, but I do have him signing an undrafted free agent contract with the Eagles.
Local guy there.
Went to their local pro day. Yeah. How about you, Rich?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I actually don't have him getting drafted. I think the injuries have just kind of racked up on him between the wrists, between the Achilles, between even this season. He was pretty banged up. He was not the same guy he was. He was a step or two slower than what he was in the past. I'm going Green Bay Packers, though. I'm going to say Jeff Halfley has watched him, has played against or coached against him. I think he's pretty familiar with Jersey guys, and he's the DC over there. So bring him to Green Bay. See how that works out.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I said no, not getting drafted, but I said signed as an undrafted free agent with the Baltimore Ravens. Zach Orr, the defensive coordinator now for Baltimore, former linebacker himself. That team could always use a little bit more linebacking help. It seems like he would be a good fit in that system where they really value those inside linebackers with a lot of mobility and range. I say Baltimore Ravens undrafted free agent, kind of for the similar reasons of not getting drafted, where there's injuries. We'll see what he comes out with, like how he plays. If he does get to the NFL, we'll see, how he looks physically. But yeah, I think he might be one of those guys, potentially someone who's like a really early undrafted free agent, where it's like guys are signing deals before the draft is even done. I could see that happening.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting how that whole thing works because as an undrafted free agent, you can get your signing bonuses varying. So you can get up to $100,000, I believe, the last time I checked, as a signing bonus as an undrafted player, which is actually more than some late round picks, believe it or not. So I could definitely see that. And honestly, being an undrafted free agent, in my opinion, is better than being a seventh rounder because you could choose your destination and ultimately, like, you're just trying to latch onto a roster as an undrafted guy. So would you rather get stuck, sixth in the depth chart or maybe go somewhere that has like the third string opening there? So let's move on to Keontae Hamilton. I have him getting drafted in the 6th round by the Miami Dolphins, which was a very popular pick because he was on a top 30 visit there. I think he also took a top 30 visit to the Chargers, but I think Dolphins are where he ends up.
Yeah, I got 6th round. I actually picked the Dolphins as well. I am just, again, realizing they don't also have their pick in the 6th round now. So now it's a little bit trickier, but you know how the draft works. These trades are going left and right when it comes to the late round. So I do think if he's there, available late in the 6th, I think the Dolphins could be like, hey, that's our guy.
Yeah, I also have him getting drafted in the 6th round as well to the Indianapolis Colts. I know the Dolphins was the low-hanging fruit because he took the top 30 visit, but the Colts seemingly always need some defensive line help, the way they kind of cycle guys out. They do actually have a 6th round pick. I just looked, thank goodness. I kind of realized that when filling this out, I kind of didn't take that into account, but it's fine. So I think he could go to the Colts. They drafted it's the same Chris Ballard, GM, drafted Mohamed Toure that many years ago. Could see them taking another flyer on a Rutgers defensive tackle. I think Keontae Hamilton showed a lot this past year as a senior, where he was working inside. He was also working outside when they suffered some injuries at the defensive end room. He kicked outside and he did pretty well. I thought to close the season, he was a big reason for the defensive improvement.
I don't have any other players getting drafted on my list. I don't know if either of you guys do. We have, I think, 15 guys on this list. I don't think it's worth going through the entire thing. I think
we could say who the players are.
Yeah, go for it.
So we have Aaron Lewis. We all said no. Richie, do you have anyone else getting drafted here? No.
Aaron Lewis, no. Actually, I'm looking at it now. Like Aaron Lewis, Shaquan Loyal, Flip Dixon,
Demir Miller.
Okay. I think Demir Miller could get an undrafted free agent contract.
So here's my final question on this for you guys. So none of us have anyone else getting drafted. We had between 3 and 4 guys each. If there was an additional player that we all think won't get drafted to get drafted, who do you think it would be?
Ooh, that's a good one.
I think it would be Demir Miller. I think he could kind of slide into like the end of the 7th round.
I can see that. Yeah, I probably agree there.
He tested really well athletically, I believe, at the pro day.
Maybe Shaquan Loyal?
That would be my guess. I think Shaquan Loyal took a big step this past year. I think he was probably the 2nd best defensive player for Rutgers, second to Keontae Hamilton. I think he got better every year, and I just think he does a lot of things really well. So
he also could get the Shiano defensive back boost as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like Shaquan Loyal was, particularly the game against Maryland, he was the best player on the field, I think, when Rutgers was on defense and Maryland was on offense. I think he was the best player on the field. And he got hurt twice and still came back and played really well. So that was a game that really stuck out in my memory.
I know I pointed out the halfway New Jersey thing, but I forgot Anthony Campanelli's a DC too. And Drew Lascari's down there.
In Jacksonville.
Jacksonville.
Yeah, that's a good point. Very good point. So a couple breaking news items have come in into the news feed here as we're recording. So we'll talk about those briefly. Shawn Tucker, who's worked in the athletic department for a long time, former Rutgers Scarlet Knight football player, was named the athletic director at Rowan just now. And also there has been a resolution in the Rutgers gymnastics investigation. Rutgers has fired Umme Salim-Beasley, the gymnastics coach, which closes a chapter in Rutgers history, I think, that we're all happy to be past. Any specific things you guys wanted to talk about on either of those news items as they come across?
I think the Shawn Tucker one's going to be a little bit bigger of a hit than people think. He's a pretty good fundraiser.
He's a great guy.
Yeah, he's just very talkative. He's always It doesn't matter how much you donated. And that was a big issue at times with Pat Hobbs that a lot of people don't recognize. Pat Hobbs didn't care for the lower donuts, like donors, didn't really talk to them, didn't show interest in them. And he went for the big wigs, which to an extent I kind of get. But if like a guy's donating 5 figures, you still have to talk to him. Like, you can say, what's up? Hey, how's it going? Entertain him at the very least. And that was something Sarah Baumgardner was really good at. She would entertain everyone, no matter how much you donate it, whether it be pennies, whether it be 6 figures, 7 figures. And that's where Shawn Tucker kind of took over when she left and was a pretty good fundraiser, I thought, and just a good advocate for the program. Now, it's definitely an upgrade. Like Rowan getting him as AD / vice president of athletics or something. I think that's a really good role for him. We know, well, I don't know if you guys know this, but Rowan's been pushing like slowly to try to get into the D1 ranks for quite some time now. They added all these new schools. You have to have, I think it's a business school, medical school and something else. I forget what it is, but you need it like a certain amount of schools. You need to get your athletics programs up and running. Who better to do that than a guy that's local, Jersey guy, played high major college athletics, and he's a good fundraiser. So, I mean, I think he could raise some money down there in Rowan, and I think it's a good fit. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's I think it's a good hire by Rowan for sure. I just wanted to put the things on the table about that those news items that just came across.
I mean, if you want to comment about the other one, we can.
It seemed like it was inevitable at this point.
It's just so unfortunate timing because they just made the NCAA tournament for the first time in God knows how long.
Well, that was while she was away. So
I know. Yep. It's crazy. Best roster ever, and that's how it ends.
I guess we'll see if they promote the assistant coach that took over. The name is escaping me, but we'll see. That could be a candidate to be promoted because they obviously did really well after they took over.
Yep. Let's move on to the spring game then. The spring game is this Saturday. Weather's not looking great. See how that continues to progress. I know Greg said looking ahead at the weather, he wishes it was something he could change. So it's been looking like rain for quite a while now, and it continues to look like rain, possibly thunderstorms as well. Also, depending on the direction things go, might be the last spring game. I know Greg has said time and time again he values the atmosphere, the fact that it happens on Rutgers Day, and just it's kind of like a seminal moment in college sports and differentiates it from the pro game. But what are you guys expecting to see at the spring game this Saturday?
A lot of run plays. It's gonna rain. It's gonna be rough. I don't think you'll see a whole lot of anything. He's not going to risk his starters, especially if it's raining. You're going to see a lot of, I don't even want to say Surace. I feel like you're going to see a lot of Sean Aschenfelder and Rocco Racione and just let them kind of do it out. You'll see some of AK, Ethan Kalikmanis, and AJ Surace, but for the most part, I don't think you're going to see a whole lot. It's going to be very two-hand touch mostly. They're not going to tackle each other. It's just not worth the risk. It's not worth the injury. And I wanted to ask you guys this, but going forward, so there's been 22 Power 4 schools that have already canceled their spring games this year. It's probably just going to increase again next year. How do you fix this? Do you just make it like a Pro Bowl type thing? Do you 7-on-7 flag football? Or do you actually start doing joint spring games? Is there any way to fix this at this point? I feel like there's no good answer.
I think teams just kind of view it as a no-win situation. Showing the talent of your third or fourth stringers is, making them ripe for poaching. But at the same time, given that roster sizes are going to be so much different moving forward, like you're not going to be able to like play walk-ons because you might not have any walk-ons.
That's true too.
I think the spring games for guys who are probably on their way out are great tape for them. So it's a great opportunity if it's looking like, you know, they're not going to be around much longer, that they can get some good tape on the board. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think there is an easy fix to it. There's no obligation for teams to run them like there is for like the NFL with a Pro Bowl. So they still have to provide something to their, you know, the people who have contracts with them to air their media. So for college programs, since there is really no incentive and it's more bad than good, I don't know. I think you're going to continue to see them disappear. How about you, Al?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if some schools start doing like a Midnight Madness type thing for football, like you guys said, kind of like a Pro Bowl type thing where it's like, you know, maybe they do like flag football like you said, or maybe it's like dodgeball like the Pro Bowl does now. I don't know. But yeah, I think it's just a kind of a sign of the times now. I don't know if there is a real way to fix it, but I feel like Rutgers is probably, if there's going to be a movement to stop doing the traditional spring games, I feel like Rutgers is going to be on the back half of that. Because we've heard Greg Schiano talk a lot about how important it is to get these guys the reps, and you know, for it to coincide with Rutgers Day is a big celebration of Rutgers and all that. So I feel like if there is a big time movement to like, you know, not to do away with the traditional spring game, I do feel like Rutgers would be one of the later ones to do that. I don't think they would be on the cutting edge of canceling it. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how it goes in the very near future.
Bring back Rutgers Fest. That's it. That's how we fix it.
I was already gone by the time I was a student.
Oh, God.
Yeah, much like the Alley, I do not see Rutgers Fest coming back.
I know. It's just an idea.
Yeah.
You never know.
And also,
make me president. It will be back.
King Neptune Night never made a return when I was a student either.
Really?
Yeah. Or at least, I don't remember. The one year that I lived on campus, they canceled it. So I don't remember if they brought it back the last 2 years that I was there at Rutgers, but
I mean, to be fair, Rutgers Fest was before my time too, actually. But I think he canceled in 2011, 2012.
The last one was the Pitbull, the infamous Pitbull Rutgers Fest, which I think was 2011.
2011, yeah, you're right. Jeez, that's. I mean,
But
in reality, like maybe make it like an NIL centric thing going forward, since schools are going to be able to pay people. Be like, hey, we could sign autographs. You could throw a football, play catch with, I don't know, Ethan Calicmanis or AJ Surace, and have a concert in the background. Make it, well, obviously make it on a nice day, but make it on top, like Rutgers Day, basically. Just kind of double down on Rutgers Day and have everyone show up to the football stadium. And here's free T-shirts. Here's your annual equipment sale, because there's too much shit that we get for free. Like, I don't know. It's tough. I don't really know what you do. I mean, the Pro Bowl is kind of dead too, which is not helpful either. So I don't know what you do. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out, though.
Yep, totally agree. Let's move on to some hoops news. Ace Bailey has made it official. He is declared for the 2025 NBA draft, where he's expected to be a top 5 pick. Yeah. There was people who I think were speculating, like, oh, maybe we can keep him. Why isn't he announced? Blah, blah, blah. I'm sure you were tired of answering those questions, Rich. But
yes,
he's finally declared. You know, my Sixers, they got the 5th best odds. Maybe they move up a little bit, able to get one of Dylan or Ace. Be totally insufferable for the rest of my life.
I'm going to be so upset if the Sixers fall ass backwards into a top 3 pick by doing everything wrong, and the Nets accidentally fail at tanking and win too much, and they get stuck outside the top 5.
Yeah. Listen, dude, we got number 6 already. It's the lottery now. It's a guessing game. But
Kasparis Giacosonis, welcome to Brooklyn.
But if you look at those other top 5 teams, NBA is going to rig it. I could feel it. No one wants these superstars to go to Utah and Charlotte and New Orleans and Washington.
Hasn't New Orleans won enough lotteries recently?
Like even Washington, they had John Wall not too long ago. Like that was
like 11 years ago.
I'm old now. But stop letting them
I think that was 14 years ago. Actually, now that I think about it,
stop letting these like shitty franchises get these players. I wouldn't even be mad if he's either one of them's a Sixer, just because. Well, I'd be mad because I have to watch them play against my team every day. But in the aspect
Also,
of
the principal.
I don't want Ace Bailey going to Charlotte. I feel like that's the worst case scenario for him. They just don't develop anyone.
Yeah, if we're talking about odds, Utah, Washington, and Charlotte all have the same odds. They flattened the lottery, which is nice. They all have 14% chance at getting the number one pick. Then New Orleans has a 12.5% chance of getting the number one pick. Then Philly at 10.5, Brooklyn 9, Toronto 7.5, San Antonio 6, and then things drop off pretty quickly. So yeah, I mean, San Antonio, I'd love for Dylan to go there.
Oh, huge.
Him and Stephon Castle, I think, would mesh really well. Yeah, and De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah, that would kind of create a bit
Victor
of a logjam.
Wembanyama, too.
What'd you say?
Said Victor Wembanyama.
Wembanyama, yeah, he's obviously
kind of important.
Yeah, he's important. Hopefully, he's all right. He had
that's
some medical issues this
that.
year.
Yeah.
I think he'll be fine, but it's still scary. But yeah, no, there's not there's not many great landing spots in the lottery this year. But we'll see. The Rockets have the unprotected Phoenix pick too, which is crazy.
That's true. Nets could always trade up too. We got 4 first-rounders. I
mean, that just never happens. They're not gonna. Who's gonna want to trade out of the top 3 pick this year?
That's a good question. Probably no one. But I don't know. You never know. If you get a couple first, it is a pretty stacked draft.
Yeah.
Overall, so it's like I don't know. It's a tough one. I just hope the Nets somehow sneak their way into the top 3, and then we get at least one of them.
Yeah. So that is the Bailey update. Alec, now the floor is yours for our our
Weekly
podcast
weekly, whatever we want to call it, our weekly update on the world of the Rutgers women's basketball team.
Yes, it is a very busy weekend, both outgoing and incoming. Maya Petticord and Keelan McMiller both have new destinations. Maya Petticord is going to Auburn. She's going back to the SEC. She spent her first year at Texas A&M. Kind of saw that one coming, I think, that kind of level. She was solid this past year. She was solid last year, too. So solid 2 years at Rutgers. So now she's going to Auburn. Richie, congratulations. You get to continue
my beef with Sparkle.
Yeah. Because Keelan McMiller is going to Penn State, which kind of came out of nowhere for basically everyone, myself included.
Yeah.
I didn't know where she was
on her list.
Yeah.
Weird how that works, right?
Yeah, on any of the lists. But it definitely seems like a bit of a I don't want to say desperate move, but it seems like Penn State's head coach, Carolyn Keeger. Well, yeah, it does seem kind of desperate. But Carolyn Keeger, it seems like I'm honestly surprised she kept her job this year, considering how bad Penn State was. They went 1-17 in the Big Ten. They missed the Big Ten tournament, so it's going to be a weird fit. They also lost a lot of players to the portal. I don't know what the roster is looking like this year, but Keelan McMiller will play in the Big Ten again. We don't know the schedule yet, so we don't know if Rutgers will host Penn State or if they'll go to Penn State or if they'll play twice like they did this year. So that should be pretty interesting. And if they do face off again, which obviously they will at least one time, but if they do face off again, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of eyes on that matchup, and myself included. Should be quite the interesting one. Richie, again, uniquely qualified to cover that.
I have nothing against her. It's just her publicist / CEO / I don't even know what else she does. Nothing. She doesn't answer anyone. So
yeah, no, I've talked to Kiyomi a few times during the season, and she seems like a nice enough person. And her on-court abilities, I mean, as much as we talked about, the whole crazy stuff that happened all throughout the season, there's no questioning her on-court abilities. So it's just a matter of, can she put it all together for Penn State? A bad Penn State team last year, and I don't know what they're going to look like this year. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But on the other end, incoming, they did get 2 new commitments this past weekend as well, both from the high major ranks on our Twitter space. Last week, I teased that there might be a high major edition coming. The one that I was talking about was Lauren Swan, a guard from Arizona. Only played 1 year at Arizona. She was an all Big 12 freshman teamer, averaged 8 points, 2 rebounds, and 1 assist a game, mostly coming off the bench. She was a pretty highly rated recruit coming out of high school. ESPN had her ranked 81st nationally. From Queens, went to Long Island Lutheran and National Power in the high school ranks. Her senior year, that team was absolutely stacked. Silas Swords ended up going to Michigan. She was I think she was co-Big Ten Freshman of the Year this year. Kaylee Heckel, a McDonald's All-American, went to USC. She's in the portal now, but she's really talented. Kate Koval, I think, is also in the portal, but she went to Notre Dame, had a pretty solid year as a freshman. And then they also had 2 top 100 sophomores at the time in 2026. So that team was absolutely insane. She also played for Exodus on the EYBL circuit. A couple of notable former Rutgers players, Epiphany Prince and Kia Vaughn, eventually made the WNBA after a standout career at Rutgers. She was mostly a sharpshooter. She led the team in 3-pointers made on second and 3-point percentage. She shot 39% from 3, made 53s on the year. I think she'll compete for a starting job. I think she might be the starting 2 if I had to guess. I think Kayla Ivey from Boston College, who they got a few weeks ago, is probably going to start at point guard for her last year. And also Swan has 3 years remaining. She only played as a freshman. So that's definitely a big get. Much needed spacing is what she provides. The other transfer that they got was another one from Boston College, the third in a matter of 365 days. Nene Ndiaye, I think I might be saying that wrong. I don't know how it's pronounced. But from Boston College, 6'1" wing, averaged 4 points and 2 rebounds a game in her sophomore season at Boston College. She's pretty good at getting to the rim as a slasher. She's reunited with her point guard from last year and the year before. So I think she'll be a pretty good depth piece. I don't know what it is about Boston College and Rutgers pipeline, but that's the third one in the last 2 years. So, I think the roster right now is at 11, I believe. 11. They have 4 roster spots remaining, much like the men's team. I don't think they fill it completely with scholarship players, but we'll have to wait and see. The portal closes tonight for undergraduate entrance on the women's side. I think if I had to project a starting lineup right now with the players that are on the team, I think Kayla Ivey's the starting point guard. I would say Lauren Swan maybe gets a look as the starting shoe guard. At the 3, probably Faith Blackstone, the transfer that they got from Stephen F. Austin. I think Antonia Bates, if she comes back fully healthy from her knee surgery to start the year, I think she gets the starting 4 spot. And then I guess the big question is who starts at the 5, because on the roster right now is Precious Wheeler, who is an incoming freshman from Franklin. Janae Walker, who was mostly a role player off the bench last year. And then Yassine Ndiaye from UNC Greensboro. So that's the big question mark. I think that's the final thing that they really need is an established big. But yeah, the roster's starting to fill out. I think this will be an improved team next year, even though they've lost a lot of pieces. So we'll have to wait and see. Also, JoJo Lacey signed with the Washington Mystics on a rookie contract. So congrats to her after a year at Rutgers and 4 years at Boston College. So I think that's all the women's basketball news. Again, the portal closes tonight, so I don't know how much more movement we'll see from the Rutgers side. Still need a big. So how'd I do?
You did good. That was a hell of a rundown there.
Both
all names that I had no idea about and learned a little bit about. So I'm sure a lot of people listening will feel the same way. Anything else, guys, that we wanted to hit on before we head out of here?
It's a little depressing that it sounds like the women's team's more optimistic than the men's team right now.
Yeah.
One's fighting for their job. One seems like they just don't care. I hate the game, but like it just, I don't know. Sad. Like Deuce Jones, Rutgers legacy guy, just committed to St. Joe's. Rutgers had no interest in him at all. There's not really anything else going on portal-wise. It's just quiet. It's very boring right now. And
Parker Jefferson is on his visit right now.
Yeah, his visit ends today or tomorrow. I forget. You started yesterday, so 22, 23. So it'll probably end tomorrow, and I think we'll probably get some news out of that pretty soon. It's his only visit scheduled right now. I think that Rutgers is probably going to land him. It's not supposedly supposedly, it's not going to stop them from going after a big man in the portal. Supposedly. Can't say that enough. Tay Fields, still hearing from Rutgers. They want to get him on campus. So does like 8 other schools. Texas Tech being one to keep an eye on there. I don't know. I have no hope, no faith right now. I'm always negative about the program as per the YouTube comments. And until proven wrong, I am going to stay in my negative bubble.
Yeah, show us something. Show us a reason to believe.
Yeah, give me some kind of hope.
I don't know. There's no way. There's no way they have the money, but I don't know. Desmond Claude.
Oh yeah.
Seems like Florida's after him big time. It's slim pickings because the portal's already closed. So
yep.
Whoever's in the portal right now, at least for the undergraduate ranks, is who you're going to have to go after.
Tamper.
Well,
that's
that's
a graduate.
Yeah, that'll have to wait for the next cycle, I guess.
Steve Peichel going on his Joker arc or Batman arc after having his graduate players tampered with.
Yeah, go get me a Cam Spencer in the portal right now. I know he's just sitting there at Syracuse, or not Syracuse, maybe. Give me a Boston College or something.
Well, Syracuse has a whole starting lineup of guys that have entered the portal that don't have any eligibility left.
That's fun, too. Maybe we get lucky. Maybe then all of a sudden, like these fifth-year guys, they're going to need somewhere to go.
That's a good point.
Bring in Dawson Garcia.
Oh, they named a new gymnastics coach already. That was quick. Anastasia Candia spent the past 7 seasons as an assistant. Oh, so they just promoted the assistant coach to head coach. Like
that makes logical next step.
Okay.
Also, yeah, I think that was probably in the works for a while, if I had to guess. Also, Fairleigh Dickinson announced a contract extension for Stephanie Gately, their head coach on the women's side. They were awesome this year. They made the NCAA tournament, and I wouldn't be surprised if she's up for some high major jobs. She's coached for a long time around this area, so get the extension in. That was just something I saw pull up just now. But
yeah, so a lot of news today. Hopefully you were seated and were able to take all that in. But maybe we'll have a podcast later in the week to discuss basketball commitment, maybe some landing spots for Rutgers Scarlet Knights in the NFL Draft. But maybe a spring game recap. We'll probably talk to you guys next on Sunday if I had to guess. But I want to thank each and every one of you for listening once again. But for me, Alec, and Richie, this has been another edition of the Night Report podcast, signing off.